Hey everybody, it's Sophie and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies, and today we have another full moon movie. It is called Creeps.
Ooh, is that your life story, Sophie?
No, dust and throwing out things, and it's my life story right now.
Okay, so this is our next full moon movie. And what happened was actually pretty hilarious because we were supposed to review Doll Graveyard. And then I go and look and it said Doll Graveyard expected to come on Tubi on October 7th. October 17th, you just disabled something in the car.
Okay,
Sophie.
I don't know what I touched.
Oh, take your foot off the fucking dashboard.
There's nothing up there to touch.
Yeah, you did something that said something about environmental control systems off. So, yeah, there you go.
That was something about the sliding.
Yeah. Typical teenage mischief. So, Doll Graveyard actually disappeared on Tubi the day we were supposed to watch it. Like, that was just hilarious. So, we had to find a replacement. And I found 5 movies, and I told Sophie, pick 1 through 5, and 5 was The Creeps. I was very excited to watch it, because when I was a kid, I would see this trailer all the time on full moon movies, and I actually thought, that looks really good. It looks like, I don't care that they're dwarves, like, they're fucking still these cool monsters, and they look awesome. They look just like the regular monsters. They look really, really good. And I thought this could actually be like a great horror movie. But then I heard online that, number 1, it's PG-13. And number 2, it's like a comedy and it's not even like a horror movie. Mm-hmm. And I was like, never mind. But I got excited again to watch it. And yet again I was disappointed, because say what you will about the masterpiece that was The Alchemist, Sophie, but this movie is nowhere near as good as The Alchemist, because The Alchemist was a horror movie. This was like
This is a children's movie. If they had a boob shot.
There's just one boob.
Sorry about that, but
There's
I
just
mean,
one boob.
That's why it's not a children's movie.
One boob.
It should have been a children's movie.
And they weren't even like, it's like they picked like, okay, well, it's just like it didn't feel worth it at all. Like, it's like it felt like really pointless. Like, oh, that's the boob scene. That's the, like, you know, when it's like a quota. And they're like, we got to have one boob scene in this movie, and we can have one. They didn't even have any kills, basically. Like, they had shitty, like, molecular transformations or something. Like, really weird. It was okay. This movie was okay. It started off like it could be really good. Mm-hmm. And then you just kind of sat there and you felt like this isn't going anywhere.
Actually, I had a problem with it right off the bat.
Why?
Because I'll say the unless after I say what my problem was. The premise of the movie was that the guy would go to these archives and he would get these rare manuscripts of the monsters, like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and all the Mummy, Dracula, and who am I missing? Frankenstein, Mummy, Wolfman.
The wolf monster.
Oh, wolf monster.
From fucking Frankenstein's Bloody Terror.
And he would get this guy, who we don't know anything about him at all at the beginning. He wanted these rare manuscripts, and he stole them. And, well, we saw one in particular, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, being stolen.
And he stole Dracula later as well.
And the reason why is because he wanted to make the monsters himself. Now, my problem is those books, you don't need the original manuscript to read the. I mean, they're not going to be much different unless there's notes in the margins or something.
The original manuscript has the energy from the original writer who wrote the stories.
Oh.
And so it's about using the energy that was transferred into the books, Sophie.
Oh, okay.
God.
Well, that's kind of stupid.
No, it's not.
Well,
Mary Shelley had a lot of energy, and that's why she wrote fucking Frankenstein.
But she didn't make the monster. She made it in her mind.
Sophie, making. She created it in her mind. She saw it in a dream. She basically created it out of her subconscious. She created it, excuse me.
Okay,
and the energy. My problem is that there's no fucking Mummy book and there's no fucking Wolfman book. Those guys,
there's that too.
They were based off of nothing. Or I think there might have been like an obscure Wolfman book. I don't know. But it wasn't like the story in the movie. And so what I thought was unfortunate was that they could have taken that opportunity to come up with their own stories that would actually, you could actually make other movies. Because they did do that, Frankenstein Reborn, and they did Wolfman Reborn. They could have done Wolfman Reborn and Mummy Reborn, and those movies could have led up to this. And that would have been better.
And it's just lazy and it's ridiculous because I'm going to tell you something. One really good thing about the movie were
don't say the boobs,
monsters.
Sophie. Oh, the monsters.
The monsters' makeup and costumes. I mean, they were really, really good.
Yeah, they looked fantastic.
They were perfect.
Especially, who's your favorite? In terms of look, not the performance, because obviously.
Boy, that's hard.
In terms
of really all good. I think Frankenstein was pretty good, and Dracula. I mean, it's not hard to do Dracula. I don't think.
Well, they did him a little bit differently because he had these
red eyes,
these red contacts all the time.
They weren't like.
And they weren't like Christopher Lee's. And then his skin was kind of gray, like the zombies from Goosebumps, Welcome to Dead House. And I thought he was the best monster in the whole film. He was actually the best actor in the whole film. He gave a better performance than everyone. And he was like the highlight of the film. And I thought at the end, I would have rather have just watched a Dracula movie, but with this guy's Dracula. Like, I don't care that he's short.
I don't either.
I would have loved to
really good actor.
Seen him as Dracula. That would have been awesome.
He's been in a lot of movies, and I don't have his name right off the bat.
And he's always the best part. He's always the best part. Anytime when he's in any movie, he's always the best part of whatever he's in.
Yeah.
Double Toil and Trouble, that piece of shit. Where they're like, it's better to be homeless than to be happy or some shit. Remember that, Sophie?
Yeah.
They were like promoting being homeless.
He was in that.
Oh,
and he was really good.
Yeah, he was awesome.
I think no, that was somebody else.
He was in Ghoulies too.
He's been in several movies, and he's always good. And this one, he was really good. I think there was another thing too that was different about him, was that he had this power that I've never seen, where he points his hand at somebody, and if they or something, and he wants to demolish it, it'll demolish.
Yeah, he has magic powers, which I give them props for, because
it worked.
Dracula in the original book has magic powers. He can change the weather. He can summon animals. He can transform into mist and stuff like that. And so this is really a more accurate adaptation of Dracula than Bela Lugosi or Christopher Lee.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen them be able to do that, because he just knew he was very good about timing, and and how to use the power and everything. I thought he was really good.
Yeah, you didn't want to fuck with Dracula from this movie.
No, you sure didn't.
In terms of all the other monsters, they were just kind of a joke.
Well, they just grunted.
Like,
but their costumes and their makeup look good, though.
I was sad about that because, you have a really good example of this Mad Monster Party, the movie, which is an A+ Halloween film. In that movie, all the monsters talk, I believe. Maybe Frankenstein doesn't, but all of them talk, and they're fantastic characters. You look at that animated movie that I love, Monster Mash.
Mm-hmm.
All the monsters talk in that. That's a fantastic film. But in this movie, they just have the other monsters go, "Ugh."
Yeah, grunt. Mm.
And the Wolfman does something really gross, but I thought it was also good, where he drools.
Mm.
I swear, they gave him bottled water, he put it in his mouth, and then he would just drool in every scene. It was really gross. Like, there was one scene where he drools all over the camera, and that was really, really gross. I'd say my favorite monster was probably Frankenstein. I mean, he just looked really good. They
just all looked really good. And
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. You're probably thinking, well, wow, that was the best thing about the movie.
Yeah, everything else is like...
Well, I like the archivist or librarian.
She was kind of a snob.
Yeah, she was. And it was different. At least she wasn't like the one in the next movie that we're going to see.
Well, I haven't seen that yet, Sophie,
Yeah,
so
know.
fuck off.
And I mean, just any like, kind of like a dummy screaming for help and helpless woman, with somebody at least
Well, Sophie...
thought about, but she was still, okay. She wasn't the best, but I guess I liked her look. I liked the actors' look. I mean, they were good too. They all looked good too. They were just, their acting was a little suspicious, but
Suspicious?
the monsters
It
were
was
the
suspicious acting.
So I can't get every time I think about the monsters, I think really positive thoughts.
Give them A+.
They were so good.
Give everything else in the movie D-.
And the story was a little...
Yeah, the story was just boring, and
They missed some stuff.
It didn't go anywhere. Like, it was so lame, and it's one of those stories where they just spin the wheels the whole movie. Like with these TV shows where they have all these filler episodes, and we say, they're spinning their wheels, these episodes. Like, they spun their wheels this whole movie. Like, I was really excited. I thought this could be a fantastic film, but nothing happens at all. Like, Dracula's the only person in the movie who does shit.
Yeah, and I don't see how this guy who stole the books, even though you're telling me he's using the energy from the books.
Yeah, Sophie, it's movie magic.
Yeah, I know, but but his qualifications to do any of that is, I don't know. I didn't get that at all.
Well, Sophie, do you really want to suffer through an hour of learning his origin story?
No.
No, I don't think so.
He wasn't very good either. He was really
goofy.
I don't know what he was supposed to be.
He was goofy. It was kind of uncomfortable to watch him because he was just like he couldn't even talk. Like, he was doing it on purpose too. He was doing like a character, and he was like, and he's talking like that to Dracula, and Dracula's just like, "You fool, you human fool."
Yeah, actually, Dracula could wipe the floor with them.
The funniest part of the movie was when Dracula says, "You be quiet, scientist, or else I am going to chastise you." I thought about Jessica Chastain getting chastised by Dracula. And I thought they should...
for talking too much.
They should make a movie with that guy as Dracula, have Jessica Chastain, and she gets chastised by Dracula.
she's funny.
You could call it the chastising of Christ. Right? Whatever.
I don't know, whatever.
So, the basic plot is, he steals books so that he can make monsters out of them. But the way that he does it, too, is really odd because he's making a human sacrifice.
I don't get that at all.
But
I didn't get that.
It's not even a sacrifice because the victims, they turn into other people. Like, they turn into other characters, and then they go off to that universe. Like, and now let's talk about the weirdest character in the movie, Kim Wexler from Better Call Saul. It's not the actress, but the main girl, the main librarian, she has a boss, and she looks exactly like Kim from Better Call Saul. And she is so bizarre, and she is so over the top. She's like a porno actress.
She's gay, and she's hitting on the younger librarian.
It was.
I was like, I never expected that.
I didn't expect it either.
Because she said this. This is what she said. The archives, those archives in particular, were. She was mad that this guy came, and they didn't know that he stole the manuscript. Okay, this is before they knew it, or before the older woman never knew it. But anyway, she said, the point is that we don't want people to look at these manuscripts. Because they're going to be handled, and every time they're going to be handled, they deteriorate, or they and it's semi-true, but
that's just BS,
not,
though. People handle them.
Yes, I mean, and you can't. That's why they're there, preserved, so others can use them for research. And it's funny that we're talking about this since what's happened in real life. But anyway, these are really old stuff.
Like in that shitty movie Angels and Demons, where Tom Hanks goes to the archives. Mm-hmm. And he looks through those old books to research the stupid case.
And they were making him put on a mask, which I've never seen. You have to wear gloves.
That was funny, because then he just takes the mask right off because he's not going to act like a retard and just...
Well, that's just silly.
Suffocate in a mask for hours.
And she said, don't get that too close to your face because of the oils. Well, you have oils in your hands, too.
No, she talked about... That was the hand oil. Because he touched, like, with his hand or something. Like, it was... Or he touched his face, or I don't know. Like,
well, anyway,
it was,
I know
it was weird.
I've worked in archives, too, and so it's... for her to say that, though, to the younger librarian, we don't want people to see them, because every time they touch them, and they, well, like we said, they wore gloves, and they were,
The way that the scene was... The way that the scene was, though, you have this librarian, and she looks like a dope, and she just sits there in this cheap, shitty set, and then you have Kim from Better Call Saul, and she comes prancing in, and she gives like a 10-minute monologue about like handling books, and then she starts saying, there's going to be an event tomorrow with wine and cheese. Would you like to come with me? And it's like, ooh, this is creepy.
Oh my God, she's that's totally inappropriate. And if that was a male asking a female, then that would be just, it's the same thing, okay? It's only she's gay.
Well, I thought it was cool because... She was creepier than any of the monsters in the movie. Yeah, any of the actual monsters.
Cool.
Like, she was creepy. She was over the top. And I thought it was weird because later on in the movie, they did have a couple of cool twists. And one of the cool twists was that the monsters were told to kidnap a blonde woman at the library, and the only one there was Kim from Better Call Saul.
The younger one was the guy, the scientist or whatever he was talking about, because the other one wasn't there when he was there.
Yeah.
So
they kidnapped Kim, and they take her to the lab, and it turns out she's actually the perfect specimen for the sacrifice. Like, she is also a virgin. She is also 20 to 35. And so I thought that was kind of cool, because it was like, oh, that was pretty unexpected. I expected for the dork to get sacrificed, or the whole movie to be about her being in peril, which basically that is what it was. Was that, like, this whole movie, it's like it's all about her being in peril.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like her character. I didn't like the dopey dope at the video store, the dopey video store detective and his video store antics. In fact, the best part of the movie, I would say the best scene, was when they were in the video store, and it turns out the actor from Head of the Family, who plays the head of the family, he's the guy standing at the video store counter, and he's like making all these funny requests, and he's saying, like, what happened to my tape? Why did my tape get messed up? And it was really funny. And so I thought that was the best part, was seeing that guy in person, because I didn't expect that. Safi.
Yeah.
Because one of the movies he requested was Head of the Family, which I think was on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, too, if you liked Head of the Family, you'll probably like this, because this was very similar to Head of the Family in terms of how it was just like a comedy.
Yeah, but the thing about that one was there was a lot of sexual stuff. There wasn't anything like that in this one.
There was violence.
And that, too. But there wasn't anything like any of those two things in this movie.
Yeah, it was just like...
very tame, except for the breast shot,
you see Kim's boobs, and then Kim gets transformed into a Viking. And I was like, oh, God, this movie's bad.
Yeah, what happened is he turned this machine on, and a portal develops. And out at this portal, if you go through it, I don't know where see, that's another thing. Where do you go when you go through the portal?
It depends on what archetype you turn into. So with her, they said she's a Viking. She goes to the Viking world. The Viking world.
And she did. She was dressed up like a Viking, but she was real mean and threatening to everybody.
That's what was weird, though, was that they're supposed to be sacrificed, so...
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. It's the story is a suspect, and it needed to be worked on. They should have edited, fine-tuned something. They just didn't get... But it was still, okay.
Yeah, and the video store detective, the dopey librarian, she goes to a video store detective to get his help. And I thought that seemed like a fun plot, but it was so kiddish and lame. And I think, like, even as a kid's movie, this would suck. Because, like, Full Moon, they've made kids' movies before. We talked about they made Pet Shop, which was a masterpiece. They made Beanstalk, which was a masterpiece.
That's a really good movie.
So...
Which I was surprised to hear that they had made that.
You know what's really funny
Beanstalk.
about that? Or wait, no, not Beanstalk. About Pet Shop, Safi?
I'm not familiar with that movie.
We need to watch Pet Shop. The main girl in Pet Shop, she's a kid in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she grew up and now she is a pole dancer instructor.
Well, that's really good exercise, I hear. So,
really?
Oh, yeah, real good. And strength conditioning.
Where do you hear about that, Safi?
I've seen that on the news.
Where? What kind of news?
It was that movie that Burt Reynolds was in, and he got an Oscar.
Really?
I think there was pole dancing in that. There was some movie that came out. Yeah.
Burt Reynolds?
I know he got an Oscar for this movie.
You think he's Magic Mike?
No, it was not Magic Mike. Look it up.
I don't know, Safi.
He got an Oscar for being in it.
This is pretty suspect. There's suspect acting.
We're diverting away from the movie. So anyway,
well,
there's not much more to say.
That's why we're diverting.
What happened? But we missed the main point. The main point of what happened.
It's because it's
was
boring.
The monsters were all short, like 3 feet high, or they look a little bit bigger than 3 feet, but they were not. They were little people. All of them.
They were
Every
midgets.
single one. I don't know why.
They were midgets,
But
Sophie.
why was that? What happened? That wasn't very well explained either.
It's because the human was not sacrificed. And see, I thought there were good twists in the movie. That was a good twist. It made perfect sense. Oh, the operation didn't fully go through, and so they're gonna be short. And I thought that's a really fun idea. And then they kidnapped Kim. And it's too bad it wasn't Kim from the real Better Call Saul, because I would have been like, yay. And then I think there might have been another twist, maybe, but this movie was, it ends with like the most anticlimactic ending ever, where the pretty boy lead gets with the pretty girl lead, and they kiss. And like, oh wow, that was so. Oh, I'm so glad that they got together at the end of the movie.
What happened was the other librarian, the gay one, she came back through the portal wearing this Viking costume, and she grabbed the scientist and took him through there. And then the monsters are going, well, now what? Now what are we going to do? And the young librarian made this humongous speech about their characters from a book, and they could be slaughtered, a million times, but when you open the book back up, they're alive again. And so that's true.
That was a good speech.
It was a good. And Dracula, who was the talker of the monsters, it sounded like he agreed with her, and they went through the portal. They left and went through the portal, and so they left peacefully. Because they were angry. They did not want to be short. That's why
they were pissed off.
That's why they went and they went back to the archives, and they picked up this, against her will, this young librarian, because they wanted to do the experiment. And the scientist, who didn't know what the hell he was doing, was trying to help. I guess he wasn't doing a very good job, was trying to help them achieve this, get regular size, because they said, we're not like this in our books. We're tall. We're regular sized men.
Well, especially Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, they were all about the same size, and as they were in the movie as they came out, which was interesting. And anyway, but after the scientist disappeared through the portal with the woman, the Slayer or whatever she is,
the monsters leave, and then the two pretty leads kiss and get together.
And that's the end of the movie.
Ugh.
So, and they got their manuscripts back and put them away.
They had no chemistry whatsoever.
No, they were just friends.
What was funny was that she actually had more chemistry with the creepy scientist.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought he was just a doofless and not good.
The creepy, weird scientist who's like, like he just kept doing that the whole movie. I was like, shut up. So I would rate this movie in terms of food. It's got to be something disappointing, unfortunately. I would say it would be nice to do a whole week on the Dracula guy, on his movies, because he's so good, he deserves it.
What we ought to do is do a whole Dracula week and do a movie with different Draculas.
You should have asked for that, Sophie. We could have done that.
I never thought about that.
Really? Why not?
After seeing this one and how good he was.
Too busy thinking about pole dancing?
No, not really. Probably more like moving. We have to move on next week.
Sophie, you're obsessed with pole dancing.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you fucking are.
No. Marco, why are we doing this?
Because I'm giving my food review, and you were
go
like,
ahead.
and you were like doing stuff, and I was like doing stuff. Okay, I'm going to give my food review. Sophie, shame on you. Oh, well, I'm going to go back to something that it's very generic. Sophie will immediately cringe as soon as I mention what it is. And that is, there was this one night where I said, that bean soup that you had looked really good, Sophie.
Mm-hmm.
That bean soup, it's like the Campbell's bean soup. And it looks pretty good. But usually we have grilled cheese and tomato soup. Simple meal for a simple evening. But Sophie decided to throw a monkey wrench in the pipe, and she gave me, we all had bean soup with grilled cheese. And that's what this movie was. And the worst part was that they changed the bean soup and they ruined it.
No, that was before. They changed it back. This is what it was originally. What it is now, right now, today, yeah. That's what it is originally. It was awful, though.
I can't remember, because there was a time period, in middle school, where some days I would stay home sick and have fun being Ferris Bueller for a day. And I'm just kidding. And I would have bean soup sometimes, and I remember just it being so good.
Too, but then they changed it sometime around then, and it was so bad, we stopped buying it. And we stopped buying it for years until just recently. It looked like the can had been... In fact, they took it off. I think they just took it away completely. Maybe they had to figure it out or something, but no, it's back the way it was, I think. And it tasted good. But no, it was bad. It got bad, but they changed it back.
It just was not good, though, because grilled cheese does not go with bean soup. If you have bean soup, you have the cold cheese sandwiches.
Well, I misunderstood, and I thought Marco had meant to eat grilled cheese with the bean soup, or I wouldn't have done it.
I had said, it would be nice to have that one day, and she's like, oh, that's today. And one day means today. And it just did not work. And to me, the plot of the movie, all the main stuff is the bean soup. It's very simple. It's just beans. And then the grilled cheese are the monsters. Mm-hmm. So Dracula especially. And so what I did was I sat there and I ate the bean soup by itself with a spoon, which I never do. I usually just dip the grilled cheese in the tomato soup and then throw it all away. I don't even like to eat the soup with a spoon. So I ate it with a spoon a little bit, and I was like, eh. And then I just ate the grilled cheese, and I was like, I'm done. I ate it by itself, because the grilled cheese is really good, as usual. What I do is I get pepper jack, and I get cheddar, and I put them both in a grilled cheese and have it. So, Sophie, what's your food rating? Fucking pole dancing?
Well, that's kind of hard, but I had to think about Marco saying it's something that you think is good, but it turns out to be disappointing. Okay, well, Mexican pizza at Taco Bell, it came back, and it's pretty good. But when was it? Beginning of the summer, and they said it was coming back, because it'd been gone like the whole latter year of the pandemic for some reason. No really good reason given.
Taco Bell has a strange,
weird thing
problem where they get rid of all their best menu items and they keep the stuff that nobody likes.
Well, they've been changing that. They brought in grilled cheese burritos, which I think
that's a new item.
That's a new item. It's pretty good, though. But anyway, when they came back after the pandemic, the major part of the pandemic, they came back with the Mexican pizza. It was here for about 2 seconds. And when they first came back, it was terrible because it was not the way it was. And I just think because they weren't used to making it, and they just, sometimes when you make things like these fast food, sometimes it takes a while for it to gel, how you make it, how best to prepare it or serve it or whatever. And so they got it, this was like a few weeks. It was that great. And then it started to be good. And then they took it away again for the summer. And then they came back just recently. And it was weird because when they came back with it recently, it's good. It tastes like it should. But, it's, I've looked on YouTube about making Mexican pizza because you have several people who, they make it instead of buying it, and they wanted to make their version. And, there's certain, it's really not that difficult. But there's certain steps, so if you screwed them up, it would not be good. Like too many beans, or too much sauce, or too much ground beef, or whatever.
Too much Dracula.
But there's several different people.
Too many boobs.
Who make it.
How many boobs should you put on a Mexican pizza, Safi?
So I thought I would make it myself. I haven't done that yet, though. But they've actually, since they came back, I don't know when it was, a month ago or something, it's been pretty good. So, and I've ordered it. I've been ordering that grilled cheese burrito, which is really, it's weird because it tastes exactly like a grilled cheese sandwich. So, but then it's a burrito, and it's very filling. So, I've been ordering that.
So, Safi?
So, if you like this video,
there's a Pepsi truck.
Press the like button. I don't know why it's coming down here. And then if you would like to become one of our subscribers, we welcome you with open arms because we like to hear other people's opinions. I mean, are you going to watch this movie? Do you think you would like to watch it? If you can get Tubi on your phone and upload it, and you don't have to pay anything. So as far as I know, I haven't been told to pay anything. So there's a lot of different movies. I look too. There's a lot of Christmas movies, and that's coming up too. And
with Richard Thomas.
Well, I'm not doing Richard Thomas.
Yeah, you fucking will.
No,
Richard Thomas is king.
Not this year. Anyway,
why?
We'll have to figure out what we're going to watch. Right now, I mean, we're going to move.
Well, maybe you should just do your fucking Hallmark week
I don't want
and
to
make up for not doing it last year, and you betrayed the audience who was waiting for you to do Hallmark movies like the audience of one person.
We had several viewers for a couple of them because that's the thing about Hallmark movies is that they make too many, and it's about quantity over quality. And they're so formulaic that, you almost can recite the movie. You may never have seen it before, but because it's so formulaic that you know what's going to happen. And I like the ones that are very unusual.
And then they made Spirit Halloween, the movie, which to me was like a Hallmark movie.
This year.
And I watched that.
Just recently.
I watched Spirit Halloween, the movie, just so everyone knows.
Well, I thought didn't you review it?
No.
Oh. Well, I haven't seen that movie. But anyway, last year I checked in a couple of the Hallmark movies, and they just didn't look good. I'm not going to, like I said, they might make 30. I mean, they make a lot.
Didn't you ask people to give you ones, and they didn't give you anything?
Well, that was the year before last.
Oh.
I got tired of asking people, because I thought it'd be a good thing.
That was funny.
To ask other people to watch and give me a review, and I would add that to my review, and I would say, well, so-and-so's contributed to this review, and they said, and it did work for a few times, but after that, I don't know, they just, and I know that these people continue to watch these movies, so I don't know, I guess it was too difficult for them to give, I mean, I didn't give some lengthy review, I just gave a few little key points, about what they said, but it was all quoted. It was in quotation marks. So I don't know, but anyway, we're going to be looking at those. But Tubi has quite a few, and
okay.
I've looked through the list.
Okay.
So bye, everybody.
Bye.